Ladies? Gentlemen? Today is Monday, February the 4th. Time is 7:01 p.m. I'd like to call the Spring Oak Board of Commissioners meeting to order. The first thing on my agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to ask the clerk to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. If you will, please stand and raise your hats. Silence the phones, turn and join us in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item I have on my agenda is the minutes from the board meeting on January the 7th. Everyone's had a chance to read over them, or anybody have any changes that need to be made? Or would like to make a motion to accept them as written?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the minutes as written. If there's no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The minutes are passed. Next. is this, Next item I have on my agenda is the public hearing for a zoning text amendment regarding fences and walls. I will need a motion to go into public hearing.
Make a motion. Second.
I have a motion to go into public hearing. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. We are now in public hearing. I will turn this over to the manager to explain.
Okay, your first item there is a copy of the town-sponsored text amendment application. And again, this is reviewing section 76, chapter 26 of the town code of ordinances, fences and walls. I think that the reason that this came before the planning board initially in the past was some issues with fence heights initially. And that basically if there was going to be any exceptions to allowing potentially higher fences for their front yard, it had to come before the town board of commissioners each time. So again, there's a copy of the original ordinance, and then the longer section there is all the changes that have gone through a couple of different planning board discussions, and I wanted to keep that just so that the board could see how we worked through some of the language and discussions that we had with the advisory board, with the planning board. And again, there were new sections added in there that I felt were relevant to changes and updates we needed. And from the staff report, you can see that at some point later when we come out of public hearing, the recommended recommendations and suggested motions, and in red it indicates what the planning board decided were the reasonings for whether or not the motion for the proposed changes were consistent or inconsistent with the adopted plans by the town, and also whether or not it was in the public's interest. And if there's any questions or concerns from the board regarding the changes and amendments being proposed for fences and walls, we can discuss that, and then I suppose if there are none, we can take any comments from the public during the public hearing section.
Jay, have we had any issues with fences?
There were issues with, I guess, fences in the sense of legal non-conforming fences. So the way that the ordinances currently stands, there are quite a few fences in the front yard that exceed the original height of 3 feet. And so this kind of brings a lot of the fences into compliance, but then there's still some that are gonna technically be considered legal non-conforming. So should they want to redo their fence, if it's a new construction again, or like a replacement, then it will have to come into compliance of, if this board approves the new updates.
So in other words, some of these houses, the older houses that's got brick walls out front that may be 5, 6 foot high,
Yes.
would be grandfather claused in.
Currently, as it states, yes. And if they want to do minor repairs, it would be allowed. It's only if it's complete new construction.
Anybody on the board have any questions, or comments on this? Anybody from the public? There's no more comments, and we need a recommendation to go back into open hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go back into open hearing. Public hearing is now closed. I have an action from this board regarding the amendment to the fences and walls zoning text.
So you would need some form of motion 1, 2, and motion 3?
Yes. Please remember that the top one is worded not inconsistent. Yes.
Okay. So then I would make a motion that zoning amendment 03 is not inconsistent with comprehensive plans that have been adopted by the town of Spring Hope. And so we would approve the changes.
Yes.
Can I do the other two all in conjunction, all separate?
I think typically we've done one, each one, and then make a motion.
Do I have a second to Commissioner Garrett's motion? I have a motion and a second. The 03 is not inconsistent with comprehensive plans. There's no more discussion. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion 1 is carried.
Then I would also make a motion that 2017 zoning text amendment 03 is reasonable and in the public interest.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. It is reasonable and in the public interest. There's no more discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye.
And then I would make a motion that the board would approve the amended section 26-76 walls and fences as proposed by the planning board.
I have a motion and a second. To get the recommendation. If there's any more discussion, All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Walls and fences, that's passed. Next item I have on the agenda is a public hearing for zone text amendment 01 regarding the Board of Adjustment. And we will need a motion to go into public hearing again.
Make a motion to public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go into public hearing. There's any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Jay, I'm gonna put this back in your report for the second.
Again, we have another town-sponsored zoning code text amendment application for chapter 26, section 282. Again, amending the Board of Adjustment ordinance, again, with the language of replacing the current board to reflect that of the Spring Hope Board of Commissioners to serve in dual roles. Again, from the staff report, under the description of the request, again, in the past, there have been concerns with the Board of Adjustment making quorum and abiding by the general statutes as they work through quasi-judicial hearings and processes. And again, with the amended section that you see in red, those are the highlighted changes and amendments that are being proposed. And again, it came before the planning board at their January 17th meeting, and the planning board did unanimously recommend the changes for the overhaul of the Board of Adjustment. If there are any questions.
This is gonna add 2 additional seats.
Yes.
ETJ, personnel.
Yes, and you have a copy of a draft Board of Adjustment ETJ application. And if this board does act on making the changes, we'll post the applications on the town's website and social media account. Also, a notice on our front door as well, and we'll let the papers know and have a copy of that as well. And then I can bring any and all applicants to the board the following month. So we give it about a 30-day window to take in applications.
Any comment from the board? No? Also reading.
So the county commissioners will be able to appoint, and if they don't, then we'll go to them.
Yes.
And when will this go into effect, Jay?
So if this does get approved by the Board of Commissioners, we do have 2 current Board of Commissioners sitting on the planning board. They will have to step down, and then we will proceed to find their replacements as well too. So that you serve in the role of, if you are on the Board of Commissioners, you still serve the dual role of Board of Commissioners and also the Board of Adjustment, but coming off the planning board.
And who are they?
And the Commissioner Lucas and Commissioner Quigley.
So run that, or say that again.
So if you're going to be serving on the Board of Adjustment and also the Board of Commissioners serving in the dual role capacity, you would have to vacate your seat from the planning board.
How many meetings has the Board of Adjustment had in the past year?
I believe it's been 2 years since our last meeting.
So I'm gonna ask a real elementary question. why do we need planning board and a board of adjustment and a board of commissioners? And if the board of adjustment is the same as the board of commissioners, why doesn't just the board of commissioners do that role?
Well, it can be set up in 3 types of formats. Again, you can have appointed town residents or citizens being appointed to the Board of Adjustment. The Board of Commissioners can serve as a dual role for the Board of Adjustment, and also the Planning Board can serve in the role of the Board of Adjustment as well too. And that was discussed at the Planning Board meeting, and at that point, you know, it was brought up under the consideration, did the Planning Board have interest in serving as the role of the Board of Adjustment, and they declined. I guess, and discussion that we had was that the Board of Commissioners are already familiar with the rules and regulations. It would be an easy transition to listen to appeal cases, variance requests, going through a quasi-judicial process. So that was part of the consideration as well too.
So then if we take this suggestion, then we'll go back through reappointing again of the planning board.
So
Because
we do have 2 alternate members sitting on the planning board. So if 2 vacancies were open, it could be an easy transition, but again, it's still the decision by the Board of Commissioners on who they would want to fill in. And I do have a standing application role of folks who want to serve in the role of the planning board as well too. That I did contact them. A majority of them listed that they would be interested should another vacancy open up.
As alternates or,
We have 2 current alternates, yes. Sandra Blanchard and Chris Tingler.
my question is, are they gonna move up?
Well, they can, but it's still it's not an automatic
So
situation.
we would
where
have to
they-
make that decision?
Yes, you could still
We
make.
still have to make that
You still have to make
decision.
that decision,
Sorry,
yes.
Drew. Mhm.
But I guess the difference between the Board of Adjustment and the Board of Commissioners would be that the Board of Adjustment does have 2 additional members appointed, either appointed or,
Yes, there would be 2 individuals that this Board of Commissioners would nominate. And then the County Board of Commissioners would make the final appointment to seal, yes, to make that final, yes.
so it would be just us, we'd have a little oversight on it.
Yes, yes, you would be sending the names up to the county.
Oh, You ready for a motion?
And, no, we're in public hearings. Any more discussion by this board?
No.
Anybody from the public wish to comment? The board has finished their discussion. The public has no comment, then I would entertain a motion to go back in open session.
Make a motion to return to open session.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to go back in open session. If there's no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passes. And next item on our agenda is to consider action on this motion, 2019 ZTA 01. And on the back of the first or second page are the 3 motions that somebody would need to make.
So we'll make a motion that 2019 ZTA that 01 is not inconsistent with the
Is-
The second is
is inconsistent with comprehensive plan that have been adopted by the council.
Second, right?
Second to it, yes.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second that is inconsistent with comprehensive plans. There's no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. That motion passes. On item motion 2,
So motion 2, the 2019 zone text amendment is reasonable and in the public interest.
do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. If there's no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
And make a motion that the Town of Springfield Board of Commissioners recommend the following adjustments to the Town of Springfield zoning ordinance and amend sections 26-282.
Say your, does?
Does.
I have a motion on item 3. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's
I
hard
have a
to hear.
motion.
It's hard to hear. Was it for or against?
4.
We do. Does recommend.
I have a motion and a second. The town board does recommend the following amendment. If there's any further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The motion passes. The next item I have on my agenda is appoint a representative to the Spring Oak Fire Board for a 1-year term. Mr. Kim has told me that Commissioner Tucker has agreed to fill this seat. Is that correct? And we would need a motion to accept Mr. Tucker for the fire board.
Make a motion to accept Commissioner Tucker for the fire board.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for Mr. Tucker to sit on the Spring Oak Fire Board for at least a 1-year term. There's no more discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Congratulations. Thank you. Next, I have from the manager who is set up a budget calendar for us.
Is there a discussion with any concerns with any of the proposed dates and times for this year's budget meetings?
You're asking for one Saturday meeting, a regular board meeting, and a special call meeting.
If we need another additional final budget workshop in mid-April, yes, if that's going to be necessary.
Does anyone have any conflicts with the dates and times the manager is requesting?
I can't make the February 23rd meeting, I'm working.
If that's adjusted to March 2nd, I believe that's the following Saturday is, would that work with everyone's schedule?
You say March the
March 2nd.
Second.
Am I having conflicts with March the 2nd? possible meeting on April 15th, but only if needed. All the rest will be on regular board meeting nights. The calendar at least work for now. Move forward. And then I guess he's asking for action. Do you need a motion on this? Or is
It just an approval, or it's a consent.
when is, so instead of adjourning tonight, if we carry this meeting over to March the 2nd?
Wait, say that again?
Instead of adjourning this meeting at the end of the night, if we carry it over to March the 2nd?
Okay.
Because the next board meeting will be till the 4th, from what I'm gathering, these dates we picked.
Okay.
All right, the manager has requested a motion for our budget calendar. I can get a motion from someone.
I make a motion that we accept the budget calendar 2019 through 2020.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. There's no more discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Thank you. The next items are new and in red, and it's consider action on resolution 2019-01, approving the water shortage response plan.
This is a 5-year update, and we did take a 30-day window for comments last year. We didn't get any, additional comments or responses. And again, most of the changes were technical, updating the email, changing out the former town manager's contact information with mine. And again, they're asking that a resolution be passed with this update. And you have a copy of the water shortage response plan, which was submitted to DEQ, and they did say that it met all of the requirements.
I make a motion, we approve this water shortage response plan.
Second.
I thought you changed your contact information on here. I'm in the wrong place. Or is this all of it?
It was on the response plan here, that on the first page was the contact information that was changed. But,
I have a, well, since we're under discussion, I have a request.
okay,
If you have my name down there also,
yes,
I'd like the email address to my town email address, not my personal.
okay.
I knew I'd seen it somewhere. I have a motion and a second, and I ask that y'all add the note change that I had to correct the email address on there. Is any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes. The next I have is consider action on the capital project ordinance regarding the EPA brownfield assessment grant.
Yes, before we start drawing down any parts of the project, wanted to make sure that we do the formalities of getting a project budget ordinance amendment approved by the board. And again, it's for $300,000, zero local match, and again, for the appropriated amounts for the project, $200,000 towards hazardous materials, $100,000 towards petroleum.
Any discussion or clarification needed on this? And if not, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve this budget ordinance. the capital project. Brownfield assessment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the capital project ordinance on the EPA Brownfield Assessment Grant. Is there any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes. It is the Chamber of Commerce update.
Well, we found out about the license plate agency, new update is that Friday of last week, I found out that our training will not start until March the 18th versus February the 25th. So that puts a wrench in our starting date, which we had hoped to be the second week of March. We also found out instead of having 2 weeks of training in Raleigh, there's going to be 3 weeks of training. And then after that, they will be here and train with us for a week when we open the first week. So we won't open until the second week in April. We've had over 50 resumes for the jobs at the LPA. And right now, we're on target for setting up interviews with these people. And we're real excited about the turnout that we've had for that. Also, too, we have a new company in town, Millennium Patient Services, that bought the old PNC building. There, as you know, we're going to be occupying the old Devil Dog plant. They've been talking with us. They're joining the chamber, and they hope to have a grand opening next Monday or Tuesday. We're working with them right now for that. So that's about all I've got to say on that, unless anybody else has any other questions.
Are they occupying the entire building at Devil's Dog, or just?
That I don't know. I've heard that they're looking at potentially anywhere to 300 to 400 people as a call center. So it's going to be big numbers. So that's very exciting. So that should certainly bring some traffic to Spring Hope during the day. And maybe we can get Bojangles to come back and open their place up, because they're going to have some place to eat lunch.
Anything else?
That's it.
Anybody have any questions for Chamber?
So if y'all can't, of course, we'll be in touch with you about the grand opening if any of y'all can make it. Usually we try to do it around the lunchtime period. So, but we'll let you know when we do have it.
Thank you. Next item on my agenda is EnviroLinks report.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Monthly activity report for January 2019. Under activities, town issues, there are 4. Number 1, gearbox for the bar screen is in need of replacement. Quote is being received. Jay, do you know any other information about that?
So for the transfer switch and the lighting at the wastewater treatment plant, we have selected a contractor and POs will be issued tomorrow.
And the automatic switch gear on generator number 2 at the wastewater treatment plant needs blower control rewired and light replaced in the wastewater treatment plant building basement. And quote received with Electrical Solutions. Number 4, reviewing dialer equipment status on all lift stations with Pete Duty and Associates in coordination with Country Inn Startup. But JP has informed me that Pete Duty and Associates has been hard to get them to the site. So we may be looking for another contractor to come out and review that. Under operational highlights, work order summary, a total of 126 work orders were completed in January. The following is a summary of the work orders. There was one for a reading of 859 meters, 63 rereads, 11 meter turn-ons, 10 meter turn-offs. That included 28 and then 8 individual. 2 water quality checks, 1 locate, 3 replace check meter water lids, meters, 10 check for water leak, 4 yard waste pickups, entire town schedule, 4. 7 trash cans, recycle bin drop-offs, 1 sewer service line backup, 1 storm drain cleaning, 4 lift station alarm responses, 2 cemetery meetings, cleaning, waste pickups, 8 miscellaneous flag decoration related, pickup animals, miscellaneous, and 1 wastewater treatment plant repair. And that was involving the valve for the clarifier tank that was replaced. Under other activities, leave and limb pickup for the months of February. This month, the current month, will be on the 6th, 7th, 20th, and 21st. In March, the pickup dates will be the 6th, 7th, 20th, and 21st. And loose leaf pickup goes through February 28th of this month. Under operations, water bills generated, there were 770. Meters read, 859. Rereads, 63 total. Shut off for non-payments, 10. Turn-ons, 11. Water sold during the billing cycle, the current month was 2.7 million gallons. Bless you. Previous month was 2.54 million gallons. The year-to-date, 19.1 million gallons. The flushing gallons, leaks, non-billed use, amounted to 1.45 million gallons. When water produced during the billing cycle, the current month was 4.15 million gallons. The previous month was 3.95 million gallons. And the year-to-date is 24.63 million gallons. Under wastewater, the wastewater flow meter, the current month is 9.26 million gallons. Previous month, 6.36 million gallons. Year-to-date, 36.25 million gallons. And there was also 4.41 inches of rain this past month. That concludes my report, if there are no other questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Garland?
If I don't know it, I'd be more than happy to try to find it out for you.
I guess
Get back to
I
you.
have a simple question. I mean, even shows last month and this month, we're running about 1.4 million gallons of water we're pumping out of the ground. We're not seeing where it's going. I don't know if that number's increasing from months past. I know the ground is so wet, it's probably hard to tell where there's a leak.
Yes. And if you got a lot of old meters in your system, you know, the older the meters are, the less accurate they become. But I know that's a widespread problem with meters. I'd be more than happy to try to do a trend analysis for you for next month's meeting and try to show you a projection of where that number stands over, say, the last year.
If you could, please.
Okay. I'll make a note of that.
Anyone else? Thank you.
That was just for the water produced.
Yeah, water produced to first against sold or where we know it's used at. I just want to know if the water loss is on an upward trend.
Okay. All right.
And I guess, and where we see it.
Okay, will do. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. Do you have anything for us this evening?
Talk about it.
Does our town attorney have anything for us this evening?
No, I have no report to get to.
Just some- Next item I have on my agenda is the police chief's report.
Good evening. We have before you the stats and calls for service for February, but just to briefly go over them. January 9th, we had a soft lockdown at Spring Hook Elementary. What happened is that a parent told her mom, which was the grandparent of the child, she was going to get her daughter from school. She put a knife in the car and nobody was going to stop her. She never made it to the school, but she was, assistance was provided for her so she could get the medical help she needed. But the schools, students, and staff were never in any danger. So we went ahead and obviously documented it. On January the 12th, Officer Gwaltney was on routine patrol. He initiated a traffic stop for speeding. During the stop, probable cause search was conducted. A small amount of marijuana was located, and Kiana Battle of Rocky Mount was issued a citation. On January 19th, Officer Bell attempted to initiate a traffic stop for an equipment violation. The vehicle refused to stop, increased speeds to greater than 100 miles per hour. One of the occupants in the vehicle threw a handgun from the vehicle during the pursuit. So the pursuit continued until it was safely brought to a stop with the assistance of stop sticks in Halifax County. The pursuit remained safe. Nobody was ever in any danger. The driver, Kamani Greenbridge of Rocky Mount, was arrested for the listed charges, which is felony, flee to elude, greater than 100 miles per hour, and equipment violation. On January 17th, Officer Gwaltney responded to a traffic crash, and he was told by the driver, which was Tiana Joyner of Wilson, that she was a passenger in the vehicle. Investigation revealed through witness testimony that she was actually the driver. The two vehicles crashed. A light pole had to be replaced. Investigation revealed that Joyner was the driver. Both drivers were treated for non-life-threatening injuries, and warrants were obtained for resisted land obstruct and reckless driving to endanger. Officer Gwaltney initiated a traffic stop while on routine patrol on January 26th for a registry violation. His investigation revealed that the vehicle was stolen and the driver, Davis Graham of Wilson, had 7 outstanding warrants. Mr. Graham was arrested on those warrants and charged with possessing a stolen vehicle, fictitious registration, and driving with a revoked license. We had 2 commercial burglaries, one on January 22nd at 201 East Nash Street. Forcible entry was used to gain entry on the rear window. The investigation remains under investigation. And on January 27th, there was a break-in and entering at 102 North Pine Street. Forcible entry was used to gain entry to the locked door. An undisclosed amount of cash was taken from the business. A suspicious person was seen behind the business that afternoon around January 26th, but the police department was never notified of this activity. So I'm begging the public, if you see any type of suspicious activity, please report that information to the police immediately. Even if it boils down to no crime is actually being committed, call us. There is and I try to reemphasize this a lot, but there's a lot of times when we go on a call for service, and when we get there, it may be that somebody had seen that individual the day before, and they didn't call the police. So if you do see suspicious activity or what you appear to be suspicious, give us a call so we can check it out. It may not be anything to it, but if it is, it'll help us in our investigation. Campaign results for this month, there were 5 checkpoints done, 1 drug violation, 1 felony arrest. There were 40 citations written for speeding and 20 other motor vehicle citations. Officers Gwaltney and Bell also completed LIDAR training this month, and we are awaiting a certificate from the North Carolina Training Standards for that.
Do you have any questions for the chief this evening?
I want to ask Chief about one thing, and kind of feeding off your request for us to, citizens to report suspicious activity. I know there was one of our citizens was involved in helping the county.
Yes, and you know what?
I don't know if you can comment on that or not.
I forgot that. I'm glad you brought that up. And yeah, I won't say his name. I'll let you say his name. But he called reference to a vehicle speeding through town, or he was approaching town on 581. It was a black Nissan. The vehicle was traveling approximately 80, 85 miles per hour. I attempted to locate the vehicle, went to Ephesus Church, trying to find the vehicle. Could not find the vehicle. I stayed in contact with Mr. Combs here. The vehicle turned on West Old Spring Hook Road, then the vehicle turned on Big Woods Road, and we lost the vehicle. I called communications and gave them a description of the vehicle, and the caller actually got the tag of the vehicle. As I ran the tag, the way we were running it, we couldn't get anything back. Communications said, we'll put it out. I said, well, do you have anybody on any calls within the county that has anything to do with that vehicle? Come to find out, there was a 14-year-old juvenile who had stolen the vehicle out of Nashville. She had 3 males with her. The vehicle somehow ended up on, I believe Lancaster Store Road, ended up near Castalia, came back into town, and the vehicle was stopped and all the subjects were taken into custody. That is a perfect example of somebody calling to support, to advise something about suspicious activity, because to him, it was just a speeder. Come to find out, it was a stolen motor vehicle, and a juvenile stole the vehicle from her mom, and she was joyriding with 3 adult males. So that's a perfect example of reporting suspicious activity.
And that was Scott Williams, and some of you might know him as Red Williams' grandson. Red was very prominent in the community for many years.
And that's what we like to see. Like I said, it may be nothing to it, but if it is, it is. We're here, we're getting paid, let us check it out and see.
Anything else? Thank you. Next item on my agenda is the manager.
The report is LED lighting update. Rick Whitaker from Duke Energy contacted the town and indicated that he had an additional update to the 4 new LED lighted poles to be erected on US 64 and 581. And I just want to remind the board that this was a Chamber of Commerce initiated campaign spearheaded by Alan Barbie, who is the current president of the chamber. And he did indicate that work orders would be issued during the first week of February, and that we would be notified on general start times on when it might be scheduled. So those are 4 LED lights on 581. For the managers conference, I'll be attending the managers conference this week, February 6th to the 8th in Winston-Salem. Again, this is seminars focused on topics of interest to city and county managers all across North Carolina. And then for the 3rd update is Downtown Development Board. We did introduce Mark Cohn as the new member at the last meeting. Additionally, Mr. Perry will be stepping down from the board as well, so we will be going through the process of sending out an application request for a new Downtown Development Board, and that'll come before this board next month as well. Charles Housel from NC Main Street, he did work with us through our strategies and visioning statements. We did develop a mission statement, and again, during that meeting, we did discuss about an upcoming conference, the North Carolina Main Street Conference, that's going to be held in Salisbury in March. We do have several members from the Downtown Development Board that will be attending this year. And then also Stuart Bass from the Upper Coastal Plains Council of Governments was in attendance as well to give an update about the future land use plan that we'll be working on this year.
Anybody have any questions for the manager? Another business, I'll start on my left with Commissioner Lucas. Do you have anything this evening for us?
No.
Commissioner Griffin?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Fanning?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Tucker?
Yes.
Then, as earlier, consider a motion to adjourn if we could recess till 9 a.m. March 2nd.
Make a motion to recess till 9 a.m. March 2nd.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to recess this meeting. There's no more discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are recessed.